Hi everybody, Kelly here at Castaway, and we probably get 5 calls a day on how to change out a tip. Now, two things can happen. If you break a tip and you don't know what you're doing, you might have to send it into us, and it costs $25 for us to even ship it back. So then you have your cost of shipping it to us and then the shipping back of it, and they'll look for a little, $5, $6 tip fix. It's a pretty common occurrence. Like I said, we hear about it all the time. So I'm going to give you a couple different scenarios on how to fix rods that have a broken tip, and if you have one that has a guide that's still left there, where you don't want to shorten the rod anymore, obviously. So right up here I have, this is pretty much all the tip sizes that they make. I mean, they make some bigger stuff for some saltwater rods, but the 4.5s being the smallest and the 7.5s being the biggest. So if you have a flipping rod, you're probably going to end up using something like a 7 or a 7.5. Or if it broke off far enough, you might not even be able to put a tip on it without having to go to a bigger saltwater guide. But here's a couple of the scenarios. Like, let's say you just broke it off. You don't have a guide that's in the way. What I always do is I like to take a little piece of sandpaper, and because you'll have a broken end, you want to make sure that you're pretty clean and you don't have like little pieces that are down in here. If you do, you want to go ahead and sand it or cut it all the way up to that point, and then you'll want to just make a little cone out of it with the sandpaper. And then the easiest way to do this is to just take a regular old lighter, and this particular glue that I use it's not what you're going to find at Michael's or a Hobby Lobby store. This is a little bit harder glue, and it takes a little bit more heat to heat it up. Reason being, if you have rods sitting on your boat and the sun's baking on them and you've used some regular hot glue from Michael's, that glue is probably going to start to loosen up and the tips are going to start spinning and they might possibly come off. So I use this glue. It comes from Flex Coat, and it's never gave me any issues before at all. And basically heat this stuff up. You do not want to let this drip on your fingers, I promise you. And the way I do it is I take the barrel side of this and you drag it through this melted glue, and then you'll come over here and you're going to stick it right on that tip, just like that. Get these other couple of rods out of the way. So it's gonna harden up pretty quick once it hits that blank, and it's gonna stop, and usually it's not all the way on. The easiest way to do this without breaking the rod any further or heating up the blank too much, because heating this graphite up, it doesn't take long to destroy the graphite. You want to use your flame, and you want to use the blue part of the flame, because the carbon that's coming off of this is up on the top end of this lighter, so you don't get a lot of smut on you when you're trying to do a new rod. So basically you'll heat that up, and I'll push it down with my fingers. So now I know it's all the way on. Look, it's turning inside there, and you just line it up like so. Let it set for a second, blow on a little bit, cool it off, and then you can pull off the rest of this glue, and you're done. The only other thing you might need to check is a lot of times you can like turn them towards a white colored wall and just make sure that it's straight on there, and this one's perfect. So that's your most common break. Will be just a kind of a clean break, not next to a guide, and that's the easiest way to fix it.
And where could somebody get that glue from?
You can get this glue from Flex Coat, or if you're a Castaway customer and you broke a tip, call me, let me know the model number. I'll actually find you the right size tip. I'll get you a little bit of the glue and put it in a baggie, and we'll just send it through an envelope through to the house, so you can save a lot of money that way. And it's, like I said, it's pretty easy to do. You can watch me do it on the video and do it right along with me, and fix your rod. The other scenario is you have a guide that's still stuck on there and you've got to put a tip on, and this is how you get them off without destroying the graphite anymore. So you're just going to heat that up just a little bit right where that metal foot is, actually on the top of that blank, and you use your razor blade and you just go right down top of it. Sometimes it takes a little bit more heat, but it shouldn't take a whole lot. You just want to make sure you break all the threads there, and then you pop that right off. And heat it up just a little bit more, and then the threads will just come right off of there. If you have to, you can just lay the razor blade sideways so that you can just cut the threads. You don't want to cut into that blank at all. Then next thing you're gonna do is get your sandpaper. Just kind of clean it up a little bit. You wanna, I think I've got the right size guide here, but we'll see. Yeah, this is the right size guide.
You're rolling that rod as you.
Yeah, I'm just
hit it with the
rolling it.
sandpaper?
Yeah, rolling it around so that we can make a cone all the way around that piece of graphite right there that's been broke. So we clean it up. Because a lot of times, if you have the, the broken area there, and you go to try to put this on, you're going to end up getting behind some graphite, and it's just going to splinter as you go down. So it just makes it a little bit cleaner way of doing it. And you do it exactly the same way that we just did this other one. And a lot of times you can leave that little bit of black where that guide was before. See how it's still got a little bit of the thread and the tag still there? Instead of pulling all of it off. Heat this back up. Drag that tip through the glue. Make sure you put plenty of glue on there. If it's usually not pushing out the top of the guide, you probably don't have enough. I don't know if you can see that, but glue is pushing out through that little hole right there. That's telling you that you've got plenty of glue in there. Now I'm going to heat it up just a hair. And that's about a 1/1000, 2/1000 count on that. Line it up straight. Let's cool it off a little bit. And then pull the rest of your glue off. You got a fixed rod. Still even has a tag on it. So that's the next scenario. The other one is the insert broke and you've got to get the guide off and then replace it.
So what do you mean by the
So
insert?
the inserts are your ceramic area inside the frame, and these break on the tips a lot because people will reel weights into them. They will reel push it down into the rocks trying to get a bait loose. That's a very big scenario that happens. It's kind of the same thing. Don't use a lot of heat. Always heat the metal on the barrel of the tip. Don't heat the graphite. So 1/1000, 2/1000 on that. And look at that, came right off. Find what size tip you need. Same thing. Heat your glue back up. And just put it right back on there. Once again, put your finger on top of the tip, holding it with your other fingers, and heat it up, and you can watch it slide down, and you'll never overheat your graphite doing that. Line it back up, make sure it's straight, blow it off, clean off the rest of your glue, you're done. That is basic tip repair. I hope that I helped everybody out a whole lot. I know that we get a whole lot of calls about it. So check us out on castawayrods.com. And if you have any questions, you can always call us. Thanks.